day by day. The way of the crypto warriors can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadtoroad.com with your morning horners. These your sip of chaga coffee. Make sure you guys listen to the video I posted on Friday, a discussion with Andy Schectman of Miles Franklin. We agree on so many things. Andy's been talking about the BRICS nations forever. That's part of my take is it's part of the show. The whole BRICS nations and how that will affect gold and silver and all that. It's part of the show. Andy gets down to specifics, and he is the leading expert today on that. And with the pseudo-announcement, kind of announcement that the BRICS will be going on to some kind of gold-backed currency. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's false. Andy's been saying, and we have a good discussion on it because he's saying he doesn't know either. It was, who was it? Jim Rickards, who actually gave a date for that. I think it was the 22nd of August when they're meeting. I listened to another one of his, another one of his discussions on Jim Rickards' discussions on this supposed new gold-backed currency. And he's saying they don't even need any gold to have a gold-backed currency. They can just peg the currency to the price of gold. And I'm like, well, there's your problem right there. First of all, no nation would trust each other on it's gold-backed, don't worry about it. It would have to be redeemable. Second of all, the price of gold is rigged every day in every trade. So how could you set a currency to peg a currency to the price of a rigged commodity and have it be settled on a sound exchange? The whole thing just... Andy goes into why this is happening, and I agree with it. Is it a big deal? I don't think so. I don't think the price of gold and silver is influenced by absolutely anything except COMEX trading. And something really big happened over the last month in COMEX trading. I'll get to that in 1 second. But go listen to the discussion. It's a good discussion. At the end, we come to the same agreement that if you're not buying silver right now in massive amounts, as much as you can get your hands on, you're going to be regretting it come September, October, November, because you're going to have to pay at least double, maybe triple, quadruple the price, and you'll still be buying then. That's the key. People only buy when prices start to rise, which is they're doing today. Silver price is rising. You take a look at it. So today people say, oh, I should buy silver. You want to buy silver when the prices are low. Now, overall, is this a good time to buy silver? Let's look. Let's look at, is this a good time to buy silver? Right here, look at that. Spike, blah, blah, blah. You're way down here. It's a great time to buy silver. Some of us have been waiting, 40 years, 43 years since the all-time high of silver. I got into silver big in the 90s, late 90s. My grandfather was into silver back in the late 70s when the Hunt brothers supposedly tried to take down the silver market. You can trade that in a blink of an eye on the COMEX now. But back then, 100 million ounces was a lot of silver. Today, it's not because so much money has been created. The control of the price is the most important thing. And that will be done using computer programs. I want to show you my take on, so if the BRICS go to a gold standard, who's the big winner? Of course, the United States of America. At least with the official numbers, the U.S. has more gold than anybody. 8,000 tons. So, if the BRICS want to go to a backed currency that is pegged to the price of gold that the United States controls and the United States has all the gold, I don't know why they would want to do that. But again, any new currency just adds to the pile of other new currencies. There's so many different currencies out there. The more currency you add on a global liquefied basis of the fiat money system, all you're doing is adding more currency to the pot, devaluing everything. You're devaluing everything. That's why, like CBDCs, all they're doing is adding more currencies to the pot of currencies. But the most important thing for silver and gold investors is the rigging of the price on the COMEX. Nothing else matters. Not the inflation numbers, nothing else matters except the price rigging on the COMEX. And we have had a very interesting situation. Ted Butler, go check out Ted Butler's Butler Research. Great. He puts out 2 reports a week, and he's all about, he refuses to go down the conspiracy side because he doesn't need to. I love going down the conspiracy side because it's so much more interesting to me that these banks collude to set the price, and it's all controlled by the U.S. government, and the computer programs originally written by Alan Greenspan. All that stuff is really interesting to me. Then I go to Ted for the real good stuff. So absolutely you should subscribe to Butler Research. Ted's saying there's a brand new silver whale, and that whale is the I didn't pull it up, did I? Let's go to the CFTC COT reports. Commitment of traders, and you can see. Oh shoot! What I do? The long format. The COT reports just for last Friday. This is for the week from Wednesday to Tuesday. Shows another huge jump in this category here. We know about the $120 million or ounce short position that the bankers put on 2 weeks ago, or some entities. The big four actually was spread out between, but not spread out between the commercials, spread out between the big four, the big eight, and then the rest. But there's a specific $50 million short position that was put on by the managed money side. I think that's BlackRock. BlackRock trying to short silver to control the price. There is another $50 million on the long side. I think this is the good guys. This is the silver knights of the equation. And over the past 4 weeks, Ted Butler has said, hey, I've been watching this, and the way he determines this is through the number of traders in each category. So this other reportables is some entity. Now, it could be Buffett, it could be Elon Musk, it could be any one of the good guys, but they are long 50 million ounces. So you see the stark contrast, the battle between the good guys and bad guys is happening on the COMEX where the price is determined. Nowhere else on the planet is there another exchange that determines the price of silver except for the COMEX. Which is weird because it's supposed to be just a futures and options exchange. And from the lack of deliveries, it is futures and options. And they have unlimited amounts they can do. So yes, they can click a mouse and put the price of silver at minus $40. But what's really interesting, what Ted points out, is that there's nothing the CFTC can do about this big long, the 50 million ounce long, because there is an identical 50 million ounce short that was put on 2 weeks ago, or added to 2 weeks ago, by a single entity in the managed money category. See what I'm saying? See what he's saying? So he advises this 50 million ounce purchaser not to buy more contracts unless the managed money entity buys more, shorts more. I hope that makes sense. It's foggy, but it's not too foggy. If you've followed Ted for a long time, he's basically showing where these traders do it. How do they rig the price of silver? How is the price of silver determined? And it's just these criminal banks, and you can see who they are when you pull up the delivery reports and things like that, obviously. So the delivery it's not a delivery month. August is not a delivery month for silver. It is for gold, but not for silver. And so we had very small amount of contracts, a little over 2 million ounces stood for delivery on the first day of deliveries today for August. But if you look at it, it's almost 100% JP Morgan customers. JP Morgan is the linchpin for silver manipulation at the moment. Now, they can't do it in their own account until September 22nd. September 22nd is when the Department of Justice, when they busted JP Morgan for rigging the gold and silver markets, they gave them a deferred prosecution agreement of 3 years. Basically saying you can't rig the markets for 3 years. So they gave it to their customers, and their customers are rigging the market 3 years. JP Morgan controls the whole thing. But that comes up. That's due. Now, they violated it 3 different times. So the good guys can keep the hammer down if they want on JP Morgan, and Jamie Dimon is knee deep in the Epstein thing right now. I don't think they're thinking much about anything other than survival. So keep an eye on that. Again, Ted Butler says we have a new silver whale, and is it the silver whale that is showing up today? Could be. It could be. What I'm trying to say is don't wait to buy silver. Buy silver and wait. Go to your local coin shop today. Buy them out. Get a truckload full and go home. If you don't have enough silver, you're going to be buying. Even I'm going to be buying. When silver runs over $50, I'm still going to buy silver when I get more pennies in my hand, because it will still be undervalued, massively undervalued. So you're going to be buying in the future at prices well above $100. Why not buy when it's under $25, right? Go to your local coin shop. You can contact Andy Schechtman. He's helped so many Road to Rooter people. Send them an email, info at milesfranklin.com, or go to the Miles Franklin website, give him a call, and talk to them and say, hey, I need as much silver. I recommend buying the silver he has in his warehouse. I know he's got some silver eagles at a decent price. I'm not exactly sure where that price is. It's the premiums have come down from 80% premium. They've come way down. They're under $10. I don't know the current premium. Call them and check it out. Ask for their list of inventory and buy what you want. It's time to go shopping for silver, because literally in a couple months you're not going to be able to get it, and that's when the price runs, and that's when you're going to try to buy it at any price. You'll be buying $100, $200, $300 silver. You are going to do that. Why not do it now at $25? I hope that makes sense. As you can tell from the moving averages, I don't think this comes into play as much as it did in the past, because everybody knows the bankers try to push the price of silver below the moving averages. So if you're a big whale, a part of the good guys, a silver knight, what do? You sit here until they try to push down below the moving averages, and then you load up. And I think it can be seen in the volume. If you look at the volumes, where's the best volume? You see, it's very spiky. It happens literally. All the action in silver will happen during a certain moment in time. Like right here. See all the action. Nothing's happening. All of a sudden, bang, 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 bang. And then it settles down for another day. And then bang, 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 bang. It all happens. All the action in an exchange happens within like a couple hour period. Exciting if you're a trader. Open interest still way up there, 143,000. That means the silver whale is still a whale, still up near 50 million ounces. Now the 2 million ounces that came off since on Friday, it had to do with, we had a rollover of 1.6, so it's probably more ETFs, deliveries of the next month contract, things like that. Not ETF, EFPs, exchange for physicals. Those are still rocking. We're moving into the next month. I think the total, the Harvey Organ, check Harvey Organ, his website. I think the total is around 85 million ounces. It was nothing at the beginning of the month, and then halfway through it went crazy until 85 million ounces got transferred over to London for delivery. Is that the idea of the whale? Is the whale going to keep 50 million, keep level with what the bad guys are doing, but at the same time keep taking deliveries in Europe? And I don't think it's one person this time. I think we'll see a few whales come out. I think Buffett will be one. I think Elon Musk clearly has to be hoarding as much silver as he can find, maybe even buying mining companies or setting that up. Because he can't run his business without silver. $1,000 silver really hurts Elon Musk, and he's no dummy. And he watches the Road to Ruta all the time, by the way. It's what I hear. I know Buffett does. I know the Bank of China was a Road to Ruta subscriber back in the 2010 when I first set it up. They were one of it was literally the Bank of China. It had some guy's name, but from the Bank of China is what it said on their payment. I'm like, okay, the Bank of China is a Road to Ruta member. They know exactly what's going on. So yeah, don't be naive and think you can time the bottom, and they're gonna slam the price of silver. I'll buy it when it's after they slam it to minus $40 like they did with the oil. No, you're not gonna be able to get any. Now's the time not to think about how many dollars you'll be saving. Think about how many hundreds of dollars you'll be making. The downside is this. The downside is looking at if they slam it under, if you go to the moving averages, if they slammed it under $23, you get a little more. You see how that happens? A little more, and then it starts to run. That's all you're going to get. So you're, $2-3 to the downside versus hundreds and hundreds of dollars, maybe even thousands of dollars to the upside. This is a no-brainer. Buy physical silver in your own possession. If you have gold, oh my God, 80-1 swap. Are you kidding me? Contact Andy Scheckman if you want to swap your gold for silver. They do that as well. All right. So we have a whale. Is it got to do with the price jump? I don't know. The Exchange Stabilization Fund and the criminal banks just click a mouse. Virtu Financial just clicks a mouse, and all of a sudden the COMEX prices jump. So we'll see. Is this someone trying to get out of their short position? Like those criminals? I don't know. It doesn't look like it from the volumes. Volumes, I think it was at 48. So only 5 with the silver slam that we just went through, only 5,000 contracts, 25 million ounces were covered. Potentially covered, closed out. Either by delivery, exchange for physical, or paying off the losses. So we will find out in good time which it was, but it's still in there. The 50 million ounce silver whale, as well as the 50 million ounce silver short I think that's BlackRock. There's no doubt in my mind. BlackRock has been involved in silver manipulation for, I can't even tell you how long. They keep their nose out of the reporting because they're not a bank. It's mostly the banks that have to report. Because they're not a bank, they get to do things bigger and more illegal on the sidelines. A guy named Evie Hambro is in charge of the silver manipulation at BlackRock, who owns SLV, by the way. If you own SLV, you're playing right into their hand. SLV's got nothing to do with silver. It's got to do with how they manipulate the price of silver. All right, so that's what I got. Keep an eye on it. We'll be looking. Interesting that there's so little. I mean, it's first day of deliveries, and we only have 400 deliveries. Now, it does beat the April delivery of 388 contracts in the entire month of April. But for the July delivery, it's really interesting. There was about half of this on the first day was eligible to get withdrawn. And then during the month, they bought and bought and bought, mostly Bank of America, which will be really interesting. So I don't think, like today, we can look at this. There's 482 called for delivery in total of, so there's out of a total of 621, there's only 200 contracts left to deliver unless people buy silver contracts during the month and deliver them immediately, which I think will happen. So keep an eye on that. So we're looking for anything over 600 would be bought, which is 600 is what? 33 million ounces. Anything over that is brand new purchases and stands for delivery that day. Same with the exchange for physical. If they want to take delivery of physical, they'll go to London and swap the futures contracts for a cash London position, which gives you access to immediate delivery. It's a little complicated, but just know that, as Rustam Benham said, the head of the CFTC, the market structure is able to tamp down the price of silver when it almost hit $30. The bankers were terrified in 2001 when silver hit $30. Why? Because it would have destroyed a lot of banks. Now, they've gotten mostly out of that position. Many of them have. Because of the JP Morgan, Bank of America lease, they brought a lot of metal into the market. What happened to that metal? Did Warren Buffett suck it all up? Did JP Morgan take it back? Did Elon Musk take out longs on that? I don't know. The reason I have Warren Buffett, I've been watching Buffett for years, and as soon as he buddied up with Bank of America, sold all his other banking stocks, and went into Bank of America, I knew something was going on the silver side. And then we found out that Bank of America has this massive, massive silver derivative position of 1.2 billion ounces. I think that's all Buffett. I think Buffett has secretly stashed away 1.2 billion ounces. It's not to get more rich. It's to destroy the banking cabal. So keep that in mind. And go ahead in the chat room and tell me how much I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm so used to it. I don't really read the chat room on YouTube just because I don't. Once in a while I'll delete you if you're an asshole. Not if you disagree with my opinions and state it, but if you're an ass or there's so many damn bots trying to steal Roto-Rooter customers' money, I delete a hell of a lot of entities. So just keep that in mind as you're on the chat room below at YouTube. Okay. Very interesting. The criminality within the Justice Department and the crypto cabal, as I call them, is just intense. They are going to let this guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, go. First of all, a couple days ago, they dropped the charges for campaign finance violations. Now, Sam Bankman-Fried's parents and Caroline Ellison's parents are very deep operatives in the pedo cabal, crypto cabal. And they literally, and Sam Bankman-Fried's dad is a Stanford deep state professor and mom, and they're all about rigging elections. These people are in charge of the election rigging. And Sam Bankman-Fried funneled hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars through FTX. It has to do with the Ukraine. All this stuff got funneled, and they're dropping the charges. Why are they dropping the charges? Because the Department of Justice is in on this deep crypto pedo gang. It is insane. And then, so that was on Thursday. And then today, the Department of Justice wants Sam Bankman-Fried's bail revoked over witness tampering and diary leak allegations. Don't believe it. The DOJ is 100% in the deep state, in the pedo state. Don't believe that. We'll see what happens. I don't see anything going his way. And it's not him. His parents are the ones that need to go to jail. Caroline Ellison's parents are the ones that need to go to jail, along with them. But this diary thing, I don't know if this is a setup or what. But Caroline Ellison, New York Times ran a story about Caroline Ellison's diary. It basically promotes her as just some love-struck little nerd. I think it's full of shit. It's from a Google document. Who writes their diary on a Google document? I think it's just another thing to say, oh, she's just an unknown girl who fell in love with this guy who got in trouble in cryptos. No. It's so much deeper than that. Caroline Ellison's father was Gary Gensler's boss at MIT. So, yeah, I talked about that quite a bit. Really interesting times, my friends. I do want to highly recommend, beyond highly, go see Sound of Freedom. Now, I know there's a lot of people, every time something that's going to open people's eyes comes out, there's like Rolling Stone put a hit job on it, and all the Americans say, well, that's not what, Joe Schmo says he's a deep stater, and because he's a Illuminati and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Go see the movie, spread the word. This is happening. They barely touch on it. That's why I think it was allowed to be shown. Remember, Disney blocked this movie for 5 years, bought the rights, and then blocked it for 5 years. That tells you something right there. But Sound of Freedom is like the only movie that has very, very strong box office money coming in. And it's been on the top movies box office for 4 weeks now. And look at the gross. I mean, Sound of Freedom's up to $150 million. I think they spent 20 on it or something like that. And they just announced that they're going to start releasing it worldwide. Whoa, look out. It's a sign of the times that Sound of Freedom is number 4 behind Barbie is number 1. I heard it was funny. I heard it was a little leftist. I don't care what it is. The fact that something so important as child trafficking is number 4 behind Barbie, that just screams what's going on with society these days. Everybody in California is going to see Barbie. I was talking to my family. Oh, we got to see Barbie. I go, have you seen Sound of Freedom yet? And they're like, what? What's that? Oh, that's probably a Q type of thing. Oh my God. So clueless. Beyond clueless. I love my family, but they're beyond clueless, many of them. That's all right. It's all good. A lot of love for family. So go check it out. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. I want to go see it. I hear they don't talk about the silver, which is the most important part of what Oppenheimer was doing when they created the first atomic bomb. They had to use, I think the total that I came out with was 2.7 billion ounces of silver back in the 1940s to create the calutrons in the Y12 facility and in the B facility, because Y12 wasn't producing enough enriched uranium fast enough. So they had to create a bigger, larger facility, and that's where the 2.7 billion ounces of silver comes from. This was borrowed from the Treasury. The Treasury had silver certificates, but they refused to tell the world that they took all the silver out of West Point and they put it into these magnets, these calutrons. I mean, they were measuring down to the gram of silver that got lost in the processing of it, because they had to make these things called bus bars and all these different things to make the largest magnetic isotope separator in the world. And all this, it came out in, I think it was the 80s, that the guy in charge of the program wrote a book called Now It Could Be Told. And then they did a History Channel special on it, and that's where I found out about it and told all the silver bugs, hey. And there's more research to it. Go down the Road to Ruta trap and you'll find out. It's the biggest silver secret conspiracy, secret stash of silver that I've ever found. There's a ton of gold conspiracy stashes of gold, massive amounts of gold, the Grand Canyon gold, the Colorado River gold, Chocolate Mountain gold, Yamash's gold. Everywhere you turn, there's a new story with credible evidence to back it up that there's massive amounts of gold. There's very little when it comes to silver, but this was a big one. 2.7 billion ounces of silver is a hell of a lot of silver. But that was those facilities were shut down in the 90s, and that's why in the mid-90s, when you look at silver exports, there's this massive jump from 94, 95, and 96 for the amount of silver exported. Massive jump. We didn't increase the silver mine production at all in the U.S. As a matter of fact, it went down, but we had a massive jump because they shut down the Y12 facility and the B facility at the Oak Ridge, Tennessee facility, where they made the enriched uranium for the first atomic bomb. That's what Oppenheimer, was the scientist behind all this. So I'm going to go see it, but I don't have high hopes that they're going to talk about the secret silver stash. But somebody told me they don't even talk about silver at all, which is weird because it's the most important thing that happened at the time. But the dumbest thing is that in the book, Now It Can Be Told, they claimed that as soon as the war was over, they immediately tore down the facilities and brought the silver to the U.S. Mint, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No way. You just invented the most powerful weapon in the history of mankind, and you're going to tear it down and and not use it and enrich uranium in some way that you had such a hard time to do it in the first place. You had to build a facility like 3-4 times as big as the first one. So it's true. It's not how it happened. From my research, they shut it down in the 90s, and that's when all the silver was transferred. So keep an eye on that. That's all I got for you today. Lots going on in silver. Again, I beg of you, you're going to be buying. I'm telling myself all the time, I'm going to be buying silver when it's over $100. I'm going to be buying silver when it's over $500. I'm going to be buying silver until it's 1-to-1 ratio with gold. So why stop? Why not just load up as much as you can at the beginning and then think later on down the line you're still going to be buying, but why buy it at $500 when you can buy it at $25, right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyway, you want more info, go to roadtoruta.com. Click on subscribe today. Head over to the member area. I did a backup on the stuff I talked to Andy about and posted it last weekend. How the USA wins. Gold-backed currencies, the USA is the big-time winner. Number one, we control the price of gold. And number two, we have the most gold in the world, according to the mainstream numbers. And those are all you're allowed to talk about. Anyway, this is Bix. I'll talk to you later.